All right, all right. We are live. Got to let it breathe just for a moment. Connect the dots here. Connect the Facebook group to this conversation. We're gonna get things cooking. I've missed y'all. I really have. It's like withdrawals. Being away from you as long as I was a week. Uh, looks like we're good. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host. Returned from a few days away. Chad Jensen with me, my fellow football priest and partner in crime. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zack, dude, I've missed your musk. How are you? What's going on, dude?
At least someone missed my must chat. I love potting with Scott, but this is obviously our podcast, and the people have wanted us to link back up to talk about the Broncos Week 10 Monday night game coming out of their bye week. We have plenty to go over tonight. Can't wait to get into it.
Oh, yes, indeed. But it's for real, man. Like when I'm away, when I miss more than one, like it's one thing, Zack. We don't usually miss much time on our shows, you or I. And when we do, it's usually like one, right? One of us might miss one. Uh, when it's two, three, I really do start getting withdrawals. Like I miss you guys. I miss talking with you. So it's it's a pickle. But I'm just glad to be back, and I'm stoked. Kevin, what's up? David McElrath. We got Dylan moderating on YouTube. Kevin, good to see you guys. We have a lot to get to tonight. We're going to break down some of the storylines relative to today's news on the Broncos-Bills matchup, what Von Miller had to say, what DeMarcus Ware had to say about Von Miller and the potential for a revenge game, all that stuff. Plus, Zack, the time has come. With me being away, we got to do the jersey giveaway for the superstars for the month of October. So we're going to get to that tonight as well. But first thing is first, Zack, what are your thoughts on Von Miller claiming, I'm not going to read the exact quote, but I'll paraphrase here, saying, hey, I have no ill will towards the Broncos. I loved my time there. We won a Super Bowl, went to 2 Super Bowls, no bad blood. This isn't a revenge game, etc. My first question to you is, do you buy it?
100%. Yeah. Von's a Bronco through and through, kind of like Peyton Manning is, after winning a Super Bowl, he's all Broncos country. And I truly believe that's where his loyalty exists. But what he didn't say, he talked about the success they had, but the Broncos did right by Von. They traded him at the right time to a contender to allow him to play on a non-losing franchise. Unlike the Broncos, he got another ring, then he got a massive contract in free agency. So the time had come. We talked about this, Scott and I did the other night on the pod. It's better to get rid of a player a year too early than a year too late. And from what I've seen this year, Von, it could be the recovery from his knee injury. I don't know. He doesn't look like the same Von Miller, but in terms of his feelings toward the Broncos, I think he is being sincere and heartfelt.
I do too for the most part. But when you got traded, you got dealt away, there is the breakup factor. I don't think, Zack, that it's a matter of if there is any like lingering emotional issue here for Von relative to, I won't say it because he said there's no bad blood or revenge, but just kind of that feeling of unfinished business. It's with George Payton, not with anybody he's going to see out on the grass, not with any of the coaches. I mean, this is an entirely, actually the third coaching staff from the guy that was there that presided over his trade, Vic Fangio. So I don't know. DeMarcus Ware, he says that Von's head is going to be in the clouds, so to speak, that he's going to be kind of overwhelmed with a lot of emotions, and combined with, not exactly having his game legs underneath him quite yet since he's returned. In terms of the production you expect to see from Von, maybe that beast mode Von that Broncos fans got to know and love for all those years, maybe that's a thing of the past, or at the very least, Zack, not going to see him on Monday night.
Well, I can't claim to know more about Von than DeMarcus Ware does, so we'll have to take his word for it. I do feel like if emotions were going to be an issue, it would be a bigger factor if the game was in Denver, Chad, and not in Buffalo. It's easier to not come back to Mile High and not relive those memories. But regardless, he has a job to do. He's helping the Buffalo defense, helping the Bills win football games, and for at least 1 week, the Broncos are the enemy.
It's going to be fun to see how this game shakes out. It really does kind of suck, though, Zack, that you go, the bye week's the bye week. Then you got to go that extra little distance of waiting, and you're literally the last game on the schedule for the week on Monday Night Football. But, hey, David McElrath, the Papa Bear, so good to see you, big dog. Hope you're doing well. He says, good evening to everybody. He's back on the optimism horse here, Zach. He's got hashtag 11-6. Buckham times 3, MHH for life, Durham Bronx for life. I love it, dude. I love it. Let's see. How would that? So they'd have to win. They'd have to win. They could only lose one more game to come true for David McElrath's prediction here. Zach, what do you think of the odds of that?
We talked about this as well on Monday, Scott and I. This is a make or break game for the Broncos season. I'll repeat this to you, Chad. If they lose this game, I think we all go back to talking about the draft and quarterbacks of the future and looking toward 2024. The Broncos would be 3-6, and you're not going to come back from that. If they win this game, though, they'll be 4-5, having taken down 2 of the AFC superpowers in consecutive weeks or games for that matter. And that could be the case where the Bills are the toughest remaining opponent left on Denver's docket. So if they get past them, who's to say they can't finish 11-6 like David's saying?
This is true. This is true. Guys, lots more to get to, including multiple super chats. We're going to do the raffle tonight for the jersey. But first, we got to remind you, all right, now that it's a Broncos football week, once again, to make Little Caesars the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. It's a big part of what we do at Casa Jensen on game day, and frankly, often, maybe more often than my wife would like to admit, on weeknights when, everybody's been busy, you're at practice with the kids, you're doing this. Oh, and we still got to have dinner. Let's pick it up, Little Caesars. But it's a big part of football for us as well. Game days, Sundays, Mondays, whatever day that might be. Order online during our Pizza pregame, 1 hour before and 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day Sunday, and get ready for some football and fun. You choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. Zach, either way, you win.
You mentioned just picking up a pizza for dinner, making it simple. Well, the game on Monday against the Bills will be at around 6:30 Mountain Time. Perfect if you're coming home from work, school, whatever. Grab a Little Caesars pizza, grab some breadsticks. It can be a pan crust. It could be a thin crust, stuffed crust. You're going to win either way, just like the Broncos might. But speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game.
I love it. I love it. It's part of the MHH zeitgeist. Dylan says, I'm fantastic. Just waiting for the pizza to get here. Michaela's like, Little Caesars. On point. Sam Bam, what's good, brother? Thank you for the super chat. It's so good to see you. Says, hey, guys, I think the Broncos can pull off the win Monday night if Russ can have some big plays and they put pressure on Josh Allen and make the Bills one-dimensional. A big test for sure. Go Broncos. I mean, yeah, it's the whole ifs and buts, candy and nuts thing. I agree. Like when you're previewing a football game and how can they win, you have to get into the ifs and buts and all that stuff. There's all the exceptions and things that could factor in your benefit or go wrong. But Zach, it really boils down to this. The model that they put on display, as imperfect as it was against the Chiefs in week 8, if you can even come close to duplicating that, here we go back into the ifs and buts and candy and nuts, but that's a winning model. You can take down any opponent in the NFL if you convert like that in the red zone, play that kind of defense, and take the ball away 5 times and don't have any big mishaps on special teams. So going to be really curious to see how they follow up that big emotional win right over the Chiefs in Buffalo.
Yeah, we got Zeus McPeak chiming in, 1999 super. So good to see you, Stu. Hope you and yours are doing well this evening. He's kind of, dovetailing what we were talking about. He says, hi all, what's everyone's thoughts about the Bills game? Can defense continue to perform like the last 2 games? Stu, if I had a crystal ball, I would 100% tell you the answer. But kind of what Chad was saying is my opinion as well. You have to replicate the effort that you put in against Kansas City, and not just one thing or another, but be a complementary team, a disciplined team. And you're right, Chad, they were far from perfect. It wasn't an A+ effort, but it was an A effort. And they're going to have to bring that in Buffalo, hostile place. The Bills are coming off a pretty brutal loss. They're going to be inspired to win, pretty pissed off as well. It starts on offense for me, this game. Obviously the defense, but you got to sustain drives, long drives, keep Allen on the sideline and put up touchdowns and not field goals. Easier said than done, but the Broncos have proven they've already done it once.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, I think the model is what it is. Sean Payton said this week that, they're still kind of figuring out exactly, what kind of offense they're going to be, because they're still, even this deep into the season, kind of getting accustomed to and comfortable with the personnel. But I think it's pretty clear moving forward, Zach, like this what success the Broncos have had offensively and in the standings. Those are the games in which they've, imposed their will on the ground. That's not going to change. As long as you make the most of third down, red zone, and start making opponents pay when they start loading the box, right? Because if that's the way it's going to be, that's what teams will do. They'll keep loading the box. They'll crowd the line of scrimmage, and you put a few over the top and take the top off the defense, loosens everything up. It's symbiotic. So I'm curious too, not to be too long-winded here, Zach, but the Broncos defense is on a roll. And I was writing about it today. Sean Payton's comments, a couple of days back on why the Broncos have improved as dramatically as they have defensively. It's exciting. I love it. It's a key to success. But I'd be lying, Zach, if I were to say I am confident that this is the new status quo.
Yeah.
After how bad it was to open the season, I still want to see a couple more games like what we've seen recently before I fully buy into, okay, Vance Joseph figured this out. Sean Payton was 100% correct to, not take the politically expedient path and fire him. A big win in Buffalo, maybe that would be enough for me.
Yeah, this is the billion-dollar question that I have. Is the Broncos defense for real? Have they turned a corner, or were the last two games, specifically the last game, an outlier? We'll know on Monday night, and you have to come correct against Josh Allen. They don't have much of a ground game with James Cook, but they do have a dynamic passing attack with Stephon Diggs, Khalil Shakir, Gabe Davis, the tight end Kincaid. They have to maintain their gap responsibilities. They have to know their assignments. They can't beat themselves. They bring that intensity and also that swagger. One thing I pointed out in the gut reaction after the Kansas City game, the Broncos defenders were jawing with Mahomes from the opening whistle. And that's the tone that you have to set. You can't come in passive. You can't come in weak. You have to come in assertive and alpha and say, listen, we're not going to go off this field easy.
Indeed. I love it. We got Mike jumping in. And look, the moniker has even taken hold for Mike. He is the Ronk. The Ronk is officially and most definitely in the house. Love seeing it. Thank you for the support, Mike, as always. Hashtag Ronk. We got Michaela Israel jumping in. Pardon me, with her little guy. This is Cooper, her son, saying, hope y'all doing good. Doing really, really well. Can't complain one iota. Hope you're doing well, and hope you're bringing home those grades. All right, for mom. Hope you're holding up your end of the bargain on that, Cooper. Colby, what's going on, big dog? The Triple C. Been a minute since I've been able to say that. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the support, Colby.
Thank you, Colby.
Scott, we got George jumping in, and then maybe after we grab Michaela, we do the raffle. Sound good? George Fox, good to see you, big dog. He says, I want to thank your team of guys for Broncos country, as this is the best pod on our team when we win or lose. Denver Broncos for life, MHH for life. Very kind of you to say, my friend. Thank you. And I know all the guys appreciate the kind words as well. We do work really hard to keep it rolling for you. And as long as you guys keep showing up, we're going to keep showing up. So thank you, George. Michaela, the Duchess from the top rope.
Thank you, Michaela.
Love you so much. I've missed you. She says, I wish I could will the Broncos to a win. Feels nerve-wracking, waiting and being scared that they'll lose. Dear football gods, make it happen. Hike. Yes, indeed. That would be kind of a long audible at the line of scrimmage, before you said hike, but I love it. Make it so. Hike is like another way of saying amen, or so be it, right? To the football gods.
Yeah, make hike great again, Michaela, for sure. And I don't think we need to pray. I mean, we're talking about the Bills. Some of us are like they're undefeated, like they're invincible, like they're an historically good franchise. I mean, they're 5-4. I believe they're out of the playoff picture if the season ends today, or the seventh seed at best. So they're definitely fallible, and they proved that last week. If the Broncos can play anywhere near like what Cincinnati did against them, you'll have more of than a fighting chance, Michaela.
Most definitely. Michaela, love you. We got to figure out, though, how to square up on the jersey thing, because we're about to do the raffle for October, but Michaela won a while back, and we were going to do something different at the meet and greet. It kind of got screwed up. So we just need to square up on that. Even if you win tonight, Michaela, we got to take care of that in the next couple of days. So just find. Let's do this. Just find a jersey that you want. Let's get you taken care of. I hate that being in the wind because I want to take care of you. You take care of us. All right, Mr. Producer has it all queued up. Before we do the raffle itself, let's go ahead and see how the month finished out. 9 days in. Apologies, guys. I did miss 5 days. I mean, 3 nights on the microphone, but I've been gone a minute, which is why we're doing this on the 9th. But let's take a look back at the supporters from the month of October. Number 1, it was Ethan. In the gold tier, as you can see, Scott has put together some medals to correspond with where guys and gals finish, the superstars on the rankings. So in the gold tier, it's number 1 DWI guys. That is Ethan. And then the Duchess, Michaela Parker, at 2 in the rankings, the way it finished for October. Troy in the silver tier at number 3. Love it, dude. Thank you, buddy. FA at number 4, also silver. And Naj, the ball of energy and total shot of life, at number 5 in the silver club as well. And then we get, because it's top 10, Chris Hernandez at 6. Love you, big dog. Gary Leeds Palmer, the GLP, the swashbuckler himself, at 7. David McElrath, the Papa Bear, at 8. Zeus at 9. Love it. And Mike Edel at 10. So that rounds out the bottom 5 of the top 10, but still in the medal tier. So as you guys know, the way we do this in the drawing, it's a true raffle. It's a lottery. It's weighted. Okay. More tickets, so to speak, in the hat for the guy that finishes number 1 than the number 10. And we're going to do it in reverse descending order. All right. So the 10th runner up, that's how it's going to work until we get to number 1. You know this. You've been with us a while. You know how it works. Scott's going to rock it right now, starting with, let's see who's officially out of the drawing first. Mike Edel, bro, better luck next time. Thank you for the support. You know we love you, big dog. We'll blow it up a little bit better. Yeah, it's the 9th runner up, I guess. Is that how you would say it? Zeus McPeak, Stu, seriously, man, we owe you so much. The culture that has been created here at MHH and just the whole thing. You are the first face. Love you, big dog. Chris Hernandez, my brother in Broncos and punk rock. Love it, dude. Thank you for the support. 8th runner up. 7th runner up, Ethan, the number 1 guy, bounced in this random order already. Ethan, we love you. We got to get you something. You are always so kind, and you defer often your winnings to others. So Papa Bear is out. He's the 6th runner-up, David McElrath. The 5th runner-up is the shot of life himself, Naj Altaf. Love you, Naj. Pick 4, the Duchess, Michaela Parker. Okay, she's the 4th runner-up. She's out, but we still got to square up, Michaela. Troy is the 3rd runner-up. All right. Okay, love you, Troy. You the man. FA at 2. And so who wins again? The swashbuckler. Is Gary in the chat? Have you seen him in the chat? I know, 2 in a row. Here's what's ironic about this. It's not ironic in any kind of negative way. It's to the way the cookie crumbled. Gary won the jersey last month. He had his eye on a orange Peyton Manning size large jersey. None of the official suppliers, the team store, none of that have it in his size. So we've been waiting for it to be in stock. I was just corresponding with him today saying, hey, it's still not in stock. Do you want to pick something else? Now, Gary, you've got 2 jerseys to decide on. Zach, that's how the cookie crumbled. Gary, two months in a row, wins the jersey.
To me, it's very well deserved, and you guys saw it play out, generated in front of you in real time. Gary, congratulations again. Let us know what jersey you want this time, and we'll be sure to ship it out to you.
But seriously, each and every one of you, I mean, even if you gave a singular 99-cent super chat in the month of October, that means the world to us, helps us keep the lights on, and allows us to keep doing this night in and night out. So thanks to all of you who contributed last month. And if you are on the top 10 of the Super Chat Superstar list, much love and respect. Thank you. Gary says, hey, guys, all we can do is hope the team that played the Chiefs is the same one on Monday. Go Broncos. Indeed. Gary, congrats again, dude. You got some good luck. All right. This is dope. But yes, Zach, that's what we're waiting to see. Was it a flash in the pan? Was that their Super Bowl, right? Was that Chiefs win their Super Bowl? They used up all their juju, all their positive energy, everything. Or is this a model now that is actually built to last? I'm more inclined to lean toward there's some there, And I think Sean McDermott's words about Sean Payton, Von Miller's compliments of the Broncos kind of being back in some winning ways, which might be a little premature to say, but I like the direction this thing is heading.
If they want to pull off the upset, the only way they're going to win is if they show up like they did against Kansas City. To your point, Gary, if they show up any less than that, it's going to be closer to week 3 against Miami, the end result, and not week 8 against Kansas City. So we'll see. This is the make or break game. This is the pressure point of the 2023 campaign for Denver. We'll see what happens Monday night.
Zeus again jumping in with a very generous super
Thank you, Stu.
super chat. This is why he is Zeus. To congratulate Gary. Way to go, Gary. Yeah, it's really a bummer too that Gary wasn't able to actually fully make it to the meet and greet. He made it to Denver, but for reasons I'm not going to share unless he wants to, he had to head home. So he actually wasn't there for the celebration for Sunday. And I know a lot of people missed you and were asking about you. So very much a bummer, but love you, Gary. Thank you. And Stu, thank you, big dog. But Zach, if you look at, we'll get into this here maybe in a minute, some head to head, but the Broncos defense from a scoring perspective, you remove that 70.70 burger from week 3 in Miami. From a scoring perspective, they've mostly managed to keep the lid on things, and the way things have been trending the last 3 weeks, even more so. Meanwhile, the offense of the Bills, from a scoring, they are top 5. This is an offense, Zach, that's averaging 26.7 points per game. But the Broncos put the brakes on the Chiefs in week 6 and week 8. Why couldn't you do it to the Bills? I mean, the Bills have struggled traditionally to come out on top against the Chiefs. So I don't know. I feel good about it. I still have a positive feeling. I'm not going to lie, Zach, it was more of a shot in the dark and just kind of a swing for the fences pick. But I was one of 2 guys on staff in the roundtable that picked the Broncos to beat the Chiefs in week 8. And again, I don't want to take a bunch of credit for it because it was me just kind of going, you know what? I kind of have a positive feeling I'm going to pick the Broncos. I'm probably going to be laughed at, and it worked out well. I still have that positive feeling, Zach. That's the only reason I'm getting back into that is I still have this positive juju. So I don't know. Anything could happen.
I'm not too worried about Cook and the Buffalo running attack. They have Latavius Murray, former Bronco as well, so that tells you all you need to know if he's the RB2. It's the passing game and getting to Josh Allen. You have to put consistent pressure on Allen, make him uncomfortable. Don't lose contain either. He can run for sure. And when he has the ball in the pocket, you have to cover down the field, Chad. I'm not even talking about Stephon Diggs. I'm very confident that PS2 will keep Diggs in check. But again, it's Gabe Davis, it's Khalil Shakir, it's Kincaid. Tight ends have notoriously killed the Broncos, except for in week 8, Travis Kelce. But if they go back to their previous ways, even a little bit, if they regress even 5% from week 8, again, it's going to be closer to 70-20, whatever that final score was, than what we saw in week 8.
Guys, we have a little surprise for you that's coming up here. Scott, I don't know how ready we are for this. Stahl, we're good? Okay. So we want to do another jersey giveaway. All right, we're going to do another raffle. Now, Gary's going to be removed from this because Gary just won. In fact, he's won now 2 months in a row. But specifically for the month of October, he won. We're going to do another drawing to represent all the great support that the morning show gets, Broncos for Breakfast. So Casey Nickel has been bumped into the top 10 because he was at 11. Gary's out on this drawing. We're going to do another one. And whoever wins this one, it's a big thank you to the Broncos for Breakfast dudes. All right. They're doing this themselves out of their own pocket because you guys support them and MHH out of your own pocket. So you know the drill. Let's rock it. Let's go. Let's go, Scott. Reverse order, generate. Here we go. First one out on this second drawing is Casey Nickel, man. All right. It's all right. Casey, we love you. Pick 9, Chris is out. Okay. Pick 8, the 8th runner-up, Naj Altaf out. Okay, got it. 7th, Zeus out. Zeus was 7 last time, if I'm not mistaken. 6 out. Here we go. 6th runner-up is FA. All right. 5th runner-up is Troy. All right. 4th runner-up, Mike Edel, who was the first one out on the last one. Okay. Papa Bear. Okay. 3rd runner-up. Here we go. Who won this one? The Duchess. The first runner-up, Okay, so who wins? Who wins? Ethan wins. And that is fitting, actually, because wouldn't you say, Scott, that he's probably the biggest super chat superstar for the morning show, like consistently throwing down support to keep you and Nick rolling. So Ethan is a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Ethan, let us know what jersey you want. We love you. We appreciate you. 2 jersey giveaways tonight. And then we'll let you guys know on Sunday. Actually, I might have this information already. Facebook. Put a pin in that because we also have a jersey to give away for Facebook. But all right. Back to conversation, guys. We have here also Sam Bam again throwing down. How does the raffle work again? Mostly monthly contributions for the month. Then the drawing is that. So it's a cumulative thing, right? We take every single donation. This is something we keep tabs on for this purpose. Okay. It's a cumulative thing. The people who donated the most to the channel in the month of October, they get ranked in order of how much they donated. There's number 1 all the way to top 10. So we take the top 10 finishers on Super Chat in that month. And then as you just saw, their names go in the digital hat, but it's weighted. So in other words, whoever finishes number 1, they have better odds of winning a jersey than the person that finished number 10, although number 10 still has a fighting chance. They've got tickets in the hat. So that's how it works. Hopefully that makes sense, big dog. Appreciate you, Sam Bam. And Zeus jumping in with more congratulations via Super Chat to congratulate Ethan across the pond. He's probably catching some shut-eye at this very moment, but Scott will be sure to inform him, no doubt. Gary's thanks with a Super Chat to say, thanks, everyone. I'm grateful and a little embarrassed. Many fans are more generous than I. Hey, no. It's raffle. Don't be embarrassed. But we do have to get your jersey stuff figured out, like the whole Peyton Manning thing. My advice is let's just go with a different color. Maybe you already have a Manning color, or let's just go with a different jersey for September so we can get you squared away. Sam Bam, okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Good. So yeah, it's a cumulative rating. There you go. Appreciate you guys. Rick Callister jumping in. Thank you, buddy. He says the Bills aren't playing great ball right now. I believe the Broncos can win, and I wouldn't consider it that big of an upset right now. The odds makers sure would. Last I looked, it was a 7.5 point spread for the Bills. But that's because no one buys what's happened yet with the Broncos for good reason. You got 7 years of the world of suck, Zach, followed by an historically horrendous defensive start to the season. And even though Russell Wilson's numbers are vastly better than they were last year, you're just not seeing, up until recently, the consistency that makes anybody sit up in their chair and kind of take the whole, enchilada seriously. You beat the Bills, that whole equation, though, Zach, changes drastically. You beat the Chiefs and the Bills in back-to-back games. All of a sudden, everybody's giving you props and paying attention, and now you have the NFL's undivided.
I wouldn't say it'd be the upset of the century, but it certainly would qualify as a big upset because, like you mentioned, Chad, even the odds makers have the Broncos as more than touchdown dogs to a 5-4 team. So yeah, we're all anticipating this being, like I said, the make or break of the Broncos season. They come out, they win this game. We're talking potential wild card playoffs. They lose this game 3-6. Go back to talking about Drake May and Caleb Williams. Unfortunately.
Time will tell. We're going to find out. As Gary Kubiak would say, we're fixing to find out. All right, let's grab a couple more comments, and then we'll do the head-to-head and really examine where these two teams, how they compare going into this Week 10 matchup. I see one here from Papacholo. What's going on? I don't know if this has been asked, but when are we going to get some tight end help? I don't think you're going to get any tight end help this season. What you have is what you got. But Zach, there are some developments on the tight end front that we learned today. You should break that down relative to Greg Dulcich, because the guy who could ostensibly anyway provide the most help the soonest for the Broncos is the guy they drafted in the 3rd round last year, who the coaches, 2 coaching staffs now in a row, absolutely love, Greg Dulcich. But he got put back on injured reserve because of that hamstring. What was it that Sean Payton said today?
We have it queued up right now.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I mean, and there's a process. Shoot, I know he's one of those guys that, man, is working his tail off. He's seen specialists. You know, you also look closely at other things when the gait, how much weight should it be at? He's a little heavier than, in college, like most players, so all of that stuff we're working on, but he is obviously making progress. Yeah. I mean, we're going to, I think we'll see him this year. Yeah. Good question.
Okay. So there could be, Zach, help on the way this year in the form of Greg Dulcich returning to the fold.
You mentioned who the coaches love. They also, Sean Payton anyway, loves him some Adam Troutman. And I don't necessarily understand why. It's one of his boys. I mean, they traded Albert O away to give Chris Manhertz and Adam Troutman more playing time. So I don't think you're going to get too much outside help from that position. I think it's going to be status quo until Dulcich does come back. That was a tongue twister. But you have to wonder, 2 hamstring injuries, which is tough for any pass catcher, how effective will he be in the short term? And in the long term, with so many issues already piling up in a short time, you got to ask yourself, as tantalizing as he looks on paper and in some games, could he be the long-term tight end 1?
I don't know what it is about Troutman, but you're right. They love him. Peyton loves him, and he's a solid, versatile tight end, but he just brings 0 to the passing offense. Miguel, what's going on, big dog, on Facebook? So good to see you. Migs88, as he goes by on X or Twitter. He says, what's up, fellas? I have the same feeling Chad has, but I'm still nervous until, like Nick says, show the consistent data. Yeah, Nick is a data guy. That's the way he is. And oftentimes when you live by the numbers, you can't really blow smoke up anyone's skirt, so to speak, and it comes out in the wash as being perceived as being negative. I like to view it, Zach, as pragmatism, and that's really how Nick sees it. And he's not wrong in terms of what the numbers are saying and what he's telling you guys. We got to see one more authoritative performance, and then you got millions of believers in the 2023 Broncos, Zach.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, sometimes the numbers and the data can indicate what people would take away as a moral victory in a loss, and I'm not looking for that. I don't care how impressive they might look against Buffalo if they lose the game. They have to realize their season is on the line. If they want to make an improbable Cinderella-like run toward the postseason, you got to do some uncomfortable, difficult things. And number 1 on that list was slaying Mahomes. Okay, check that off. Number 2 is your next opponent, Buffalo, slaying Josh Allen. If you check that off, then the data won't matter, Chad, because the Broncos would be riding a 3-game winning streak and would be one of the hottest teams in the NFL at just the right time.
I'm a little bit, when you think about history, the recent history, it's been a while since the Broncos did anything positive in that stadium, but it had been a while, Zach, since the Broncos had beat the Chiefs. There's just a different juice and energy that this team has. Colby, the Triple C, here's his keys here. He says, run the ball, contain Diggs, no mistakes, and we have a chance. There was only one true mistake. I mean, obviously in a game of football where 11 guys are working in concert on a given play, there are micro mistakes that we don't always recognize or notice. But the one big mistake, Zach, was the lost fumble Russell Wilson had against the Chiefs. Just so happens, though, that the defense and special teams, they offset that with a +4 finish in the turnover differential. They took the ball away 5 times. So you got to walk that razor's edge. I agree 100% with that in terms of playing smart. Don't turn the ball over and see what you can do to take it away from the Bills, who, for what it's worth, as an offense, they've only lost 5. They've lost 5 fumbles and been picked off 9 times. So that's, Broncos 12 total turnovers. They've turned the ball over twice more than the Broncos.
There's a fine line, though. You're right. They have to play smart, but there's a fine line between playing smart and playing scared, playing not to lose. And they can't go into Buffalo with that mentality, not taking any shots down the field. Sean Payton on Monday, coming out of the bye, talked about getting the ball more toward to Marvin Mims and Jerry Jeudy. I mean, Cortland Sutton already has 6 touchdowns. You have to get the other receivers involved. You have to open up the playbook, and you have to show the Buffalo front, which is very impressive, that they're not going to be one-dimensional. They're not going to just lean on Javonte and Pirine and McLaughlin. You have to take shots down the field, especially, Chad, if they get behind early.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And especially with what Sean Payton had to say, was it Monday? I think it was Monday's presser, Zach, about how hard we're working to get Marvin Mims kind of back involved in this thing. You combine that with Cortland Sutton's kind of the momentum he has as a vertical playmaker once again, and it could portend well for the Broncos vertically, especially when it comes to you keep running that ball, you're going to have those opportunities as long as you can capitalize. All right, guys, we are we're approaching we're at 35 minutes. We got a little time left. Any burning topics, questions, get it in the chat. We'll do our best to get it before we dip on out. But let's take a look at the head-to-head, okay? You guys know the drill. Green signifies a top 10 ranking. Red is bottom 10. And if it's black, well, it's right in the middle. Broncos are 3-5. Bills 5-4. So think about that. The Bills have only one loss. That is what separates these guys, really. Obviously, the bye notwithstanding. But turnover margin, they're both at 0. Very interesting to be at 0 and tied this deep into the season. Time of possession, though, the Broncos have been chipping away at this the last few weeks, but they were playing catch-up so much early in this season that this is another one of those statistical areas that got outsized. 27th, Bills 13th. They do a good job of staying on the field. They convert. But let's take a look here at the offense. As you can see, the Bills have multiple top 10 rankings, and specifically everything you see in green is actually a top 5 ranking. So they're the 5th offense in yards per game. They are 5th in passing. They are 5th in scoring, and they're 3rd in yards per play. You get down to sacks. There have only been 13 this season, which is 2nd, and they are number 1 on 3rd down. This is the number 1 3rd down offense in the NFL. Meanwhile, though, rushing, they're middle of the pack, 108 yards per game. We already mentioned the turnovers. Red zone, they're 2nd. So I don't know why this isn't also in green. A little flub up from the PR department. But so, Zach, this is the 1st ranked 3rd down offense, 2nd ranked red zone offense. And then last thing, I'm going to just take a quick look. Here's where your Broncos offense, they have made improvements from the beginning of this season, the first quarter. They're 22nd in yards. Scoring, they're 16th, averaging 21.5. Interceptions, Russ has been quite stingy with the ball. If we could just cut out the fumbles, he'd have it made in the shade, so to speak. But I just want to draw your attention to these bottom 3 stats here, Zach. Broncos have allowed 26 sacks. All right. Last year, Russ was sacked 55 times. He's on pace for that in a 17-game season. That's not cool. You got to get this figured out. And Russ is a big reason for all the sacks. 3rd down, Broncos are exactly 15th. And red zone, they're 16th. So these are vast. I know, especially, Zach, in comparison to a Bills team that has so much green, it looks a little like ski wampus, but these are vast improvements for the Broncos in the last few years, 3rd down or red zone specifically. But your observations.
You said what I was going to say. I mean, you covered everything pretty well. The discrepancy in sacks is pretty staggering. They don't allow Josh Allen to get touched that often, but the 3rd down percentage tied for first. Half of the time they're on 3rd down, they're converting. That is obscene. So for the Broncos to bring that number down, you have to keep Buffalo in 3rd and long, not 3rd and manageable. It can't be 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 constantly. You have to shut them down on 1st and 2nd down and force them into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, and so on. That's how you have a chance to win on defense.
I mean, look at this. If they can parlay the momentum they have on the ground into week 10 on the road, and it won't be easy. This is a stiff defense. We're going to get to that. This could be a top 10 ranking for the Broncos, pardon me, this time next week. Time will tell. But let's take a look at these 2 defenses. Again, all this 30-second. I mean, I don't know how long it would take for to overcome that first quarter of the season. Like, even if you, from then on out, week 5 on, you were the number 1 defense in every single statistical category, it would take a while to chip away at these 30-second rankings just because of how, it was lay down football. In week 3 in Miami, it was just like absolutely brutal, over 500 yards of offense and the points. But let's take a look here, Zach, at the Bills defensively. Pardon me. They are the 5th ranked defense in scoring, relinquishing 17.8 points per game. They are 8th in interceptions, 6th in fumble recovery. So they're doing a great job taking the ball away, ranked 6th total in takeaways. Sacks, they're 29th. And then look at this. Third down, it appears, Zach, is where this Bills defense can be got, but they're quite stiff in the red zone. Your thoughts?
Yeah, again, I mean they tend to credit to the Bills coaching staff. They stiffen up. They're not as impressive on its face. The numbers, Chad. I mean, for the Bills, 17th, 26th, that 23rd on third down percentage. They're not this Ravens 2000 defense that many Broncos fans make them out to be. They're definitely exploitable, and I look at red zone percentage. They're 44.8, 7th in the NFL. That's why I say you're not going to beat, just like Kansas City, you're not going to beat them with field goals. The Broncos defense, I don't care what corner they turned, they're not that good. So if you want a chance in this game, you got to lower that number for Buffalo and put up 6, not 3.
Well said. And that was something that the Broncos did well last week in that win. You know, they made sure they capitalized more often than not in the red zone with 6. And it paid off big time. So the Broncos defense, though, they have been steadily rising as a third down unit and as a red zone unit. They're just outside the top 10 in the red zone. So that's good to see. Special teams, look at this. You still have a terrible punter, newsflash. But everything else is in tip-top shape. You take away that one missed field goal in week 1 for Will Lutz, and you're probably not in the black. You're probably in the green relative to, what the green and the black and the red means for head-to-head. But look at this. I mean, punt return average, number 1 in the NFL. Love that. Kickoff return average, number 1, Zach. And the Bills, they can return it on kicks, but nothing really too much to write home on elsewhere. And they, too, are struggling with lackluster punting. And then last thing, penalties. The Broncos, they're moving up in the world, right? They've played a much more disciplined brand of football of late. They're no longer the most penalized team in the NFL, which is good to see. And their opponents, though, still committing a lot. 3rd most penalties committed by opponents. And the Bills are up there, too. So both these teams, Zach, are doing well to kind of bait their opponents into discipline lapses.
Well, that's staggering to me. 60 penalties by the Bills. You think the numbers would be reversed. Usually the Broncos are on the upper end. So that's what I'm talking about with this 2023 Bills outfit. They're not so far as threatening or impressive as years past. They are definitely fallible. And, pop quiz hotshot. We talk about the Broncos having the best return game in the NFL. What is the common denominator for that? Marvin Mims. Please, Sean, get the ball in his hands. Please, please, please. Signed Broncos country.
And if we have to hear from Sean Payton anymore, how great he is with the ball in his hands, it's like, we know that. That's why you're being asked about him.
Deaf ears.
Get him the freaking ball. Real quick, just while we're here, I just want to take a look at look at this. Gross on punting. I mean, Riley Dixon, you're supposed to exploit the fact that you're in the thin air of Mile High. He's doing the exact opposite. But I want to get up here. So defense.
Well, Chad, go. They have Sam Martin, former Broncos punter. Real quick, let's see how he's doing.
He's not so hot either, but definitely better in his gross. Right. Their coverage units, though, he's worse in his net. For what it's worth, he's 2 yards. Well, I guess barely over 1 yard worse in his net, but more than 2 yards better in his gross. So, yeah, you wonder about that. That's a good point.
It's a mid-off between two former, one current Broncos punter, one former. Martin also has less punts, and he's punting into Buffalo air most of the time. I'm no meteorologist, but I don't think that's as friendly as punting in Mile High. So definitely, it's like right tackle for Denver, Chad. They just cannot find a stable punter.
I forgot that Lutz has that other miss technically on the block kick. So he's 13 of 15 for the season. But just real quick, I mean, look at this. Singleton still having himself a season on the in the box score, man. 71 tackles already. But look at this. Bernard has 80 already. Insane. Floyd has 7 sacks for the Bills. Benito still leads the Broncos with 5.5, but keep an eye on Browning, man. He had 2 sacks and a forced fumble last week or the week prior against the Chiefs. And then just real quick on receiving yards, this is something that has to change for the Broncos. Like, I get it. You want to be a productive, consistent, dominant rushing attack. That's great. But like, if you think back, Zach, to the great Mike Shanahan rushing offenses and just Bronco offenses of the Shanahan era, you always had prolific rushing numbers and phenomenal individual statistics from those backs, but it was complemented also with receivers putting up volume, not a lot of catches, not like the, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders era with Peyton Manning, where they're clocking 90 to 110 receptions per season, but big yardage because they make the most of the play action. And that's something that I'm still waiting for Sean Payton and this Broncos offense to fully capitalize on. Is you're lulling them with the run game. You're getting the defense to load the box. Now you got to also make them pay for that.
But look who's number 3 on the Broncos rushing list. It's not Samaje Perine. It's Russell Wilson at 201 yards. So again, more data. I want to talk about the data proving that Russ is not washed and he's playing more like a top 16 quarterback, maybe even top 12 quarterback than he is a bottom half quarterback. But Javonte, 357, that number has to skyrocket after this week if the Broncos want a chance. He has to have a 100-yard game, preferably a couple touchdowns, and that's how you upset Buffalo.
For what it's worth, this number here for Marvin Mims, 246 receiving yards, that's basically what it's been since entering week 5 against the Jets when he had that 2 giveaway game. That literally like 99.9%, because he only has 1 catch since week 5. 99% of that production came in the first 4 games, and then they totally went away from him. He was on pace for a 1,000-yard season. Get it together on that front, Coach Payton. Get it together, big dog. Mike, love you. Appreciate you. The Ronk, always showing us the love and helping us keep the conversation going, both in these chats and on social media after the fact. Love that. I'm just going to take a quick gander here at the chat here. Colin wants to know, is Peyton going to keep Mims in the doghouse forever for fumbling? That's what's ironic, is he swore up and down that Mims isn't in the doghouse for his fumbles. In fact, he also said on that same front, Zach, that if you remember back to the game in question against the Jets, there was the fumbled muffed punt and then that botched toss back on the reverse, right, between he and Perine. And Peyton even went so far as to absolve Mims of blame in that exchange with Perine. And yet totally iced out, like exiled, basically. Broncos have been fortunate to, come up with another model for skinning the cat, so to speak, with this rushing offense. But now is the time to re-inject this dude into the scheme and use that offense or that speed, Zach, to start taking the top off of opponents, because I am now kind of reignited in my belief in Cortland Sutton as a 70-30 guy or an 80-20 guy. I mean, he's been really good in that department the last couple of weeks, but he just doesn't have the wheels to really take a top off. Judy does. They don't use him that way. They never have. Even this offensive play caller, I don't understand why. Judy's fast, but Mims is faster.
Peyton should put himself in the doghouse for even calling that reverse for Mims. It wasn't warranted. He got too cute. And that's kind of what I feel like he's doing with Mims. I understand you want to make a point. He's a disciplinarian type coach, certainly not a player's coach. He's tries to be the Bill Parcells school of tough love. And okay, for 1 week, you want to take away Mims and scale him back, fine. But holding him out this long is now hurting your team, hurting your offense. He is your most explosive playmaker. He might be your best overall receiver as a rookie. Stop trying to make a point. Stop trying to prove something. Let him play. Get the ball in his hands. It's not that hard.
Well said. Well said, brother. The Papa Bear, Dixon's hang time is outstanding. Talking about the punter, Riley Dixon. I don't know the exact metrics on that. but it's just, even if it's 100% true, and I have no reason to doubt you on that, Papa Bear, it's not coming out in the wash. It's not coming out in the wash. So Dixon has so far been a net downgrade at punter over what the Broncos had in Sam Martin, who himself, Zach, was not very good for this team. They haven't had a good punter since Cole quit. Let's be honest.
Yep. Yeah, there's Marquette King, Colby Wadman, former pizza delivery boy, and I'm forgetting, who am I forgetting, Chad?
Post Cole quit.
A couple years ago.
No, Wadman, King, Dixon.
I'm missing one.
He was the,
I'm missing one. I can't remember who it is. I'm pretty sure I am anyway.
If you guys can think of it, tell us in the chat.
I gotta Google it.
While Zach's Googling that, guys, I have a message for you on a personal note. As you guys know, I do this crazy punk rock music in my spare time with my best friends from my hometown, and our band Bridge the Gap. That's what we were doing this past weekend at a festival in California. But we were doing that because we just released a new single, and you guys were so supportive when our band put out this album during the off season, and everyone would be very grateful. You go check out this video, like, comment, stream it. I'm just going to give you like a 10-second clip of this video, but guys, go smash it, like it, comment. It helps go viral. It's already over 1,000 views 1 week into this single release. So we're doing really well with it, but it could be even better with your guys' support. Real quick, there's a song called Revenant, Bridge the Gap. Check it out.
I've got the world tied on a string in search of something to believe.
All right, so check that out, guys. We'll put the link in the chat, but did you figure it out?
Yeah, with a little help from DBA, Corliss Waitman.
Ah,
Yeah, can't forget about him.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, these forgettable dudes. How could we have not remembered? I mean,
Broncos legends.
Yeah, Ruin was the legend though, Todd. Tom Ruin was a legend from days gone past. I loved him, dude. Rugby guy, physical. He'll go freaking make a hit. Yeah, he'll make the tackle, but he'll put the hit on. I miss that cap. But guys, we're out of time, so we got a couple messages for you though, and then we're gonna dip on out of here.
It was another tremendous episode of the MHH podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH pod. You can follow us on X, the main account at Mile High Huddle. So it's so second nature to say Twitter. I hate saying X. But anyway, guys, you can follow Chad on Twitter at Chad and Jensen. I'll just say Twitter. Myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some MHH merch, you know where it is, what it is, how to find it. Check out MHHmerch.com and get you some. Also, drop us a like at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Mile_High_Huddle. And on Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some of that merch each and every single month. But if anything, please, 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 please subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
Love it. Love it. I really have missed you guys. I've missed being able to turn on a microphone and talk about the Broncos and share our observations and just shoot the breeze. So thank you for being with us tonight. A shout out to these great Super Chat superstars and supporters. David McElrath tonight, Sam Bam, Zeus, Michaela Israel, The Duchess, Michaela Parker, GLP, Gary Leeds Palmer, Rick Callister. We got The Ronk, Michael Ronquillo, George Fox, Colby C. Collier, Miguel Santisteban. Much love and respect, you guys. We'll be back Sunday, not for the gut reaction because the Broncos don't play Sunday. They play Monday night. So we look forward to seeing you guys then. But don't forget, you've got some Legends of Mile High tomorrow morning with Thomas Hall. You got Dove Valley Deep Divers Friday night, Saturday night, Orange and Blue View. And then we'll see you Sunday evening.
Have a great start to your weekend. We'll see you Sunday. Take care. And as always, go Broncos.